In this video, I'm going to explain why my high targets for XRP remain despite the 2 months of consolidation that we've gone through, some of your favorite content creators admitting that they are selling some of their positions. I am still holding to high targets of XRP, and I'm going to give you a data point in this update that is proof that we are going to see significant inflows into the XRP ETFs. We're talking about not just 5 to 10 billion. I think that we need to raise those targets. I'm expecting 10 to 20 billion of inflows into the XRP ETFs, and I got a data point to back it up. And so we're going to explain it here in this update why the high targets remain. One of those being a little something to look forward to here is Jim Cramer just put out a tweet 1 hour ago saying that froth is bouncing, but it is not to be trusted. And I retweeted and I said, we are now clear to run, right? Jim Cramer says the froth is bouncing, don't trust it. That means that froth and all sorts of crap, maybe we should be in some crap coins because everything's about to run now. If the froth is going to bounce, that means that our crypto, that means that our stocks, it is going to be moving back up. And I firmly do believe that we are finishing up the end of this consolidation, 2 months of it. And on the short-term time frame, I'm here on the 15-minute chart. We liquidated everyone all the way down here to 270, bounced back up here nearly to $3. And then the market makers are just playing with us at this point. That's all this is. This is just manipulation to wipe out and liquidate people in the meantime, take your money. And this is why, once again, I hold 90% of my XRP is in my spot bags, cold wallets, Caleb and Brown institutional grade custody. It is not moving. There is no leverage on it. And so the market makers can try to hunt me down with my little trading bag. They still haven't been able to catch me on that. And we've been successful in our trades. But this is just short-term noise that shakes out a lot of people, right? Who refuse to acknowledge the data points that are in front of us. And I'm going to explain that here in this update. Now, Brad Garlinghouse retweeting XRP Seoul, Korea, absolutely showing up. He says, one thing you know about the XRP community is that anywhere in the world, they show up in force. Huge congrats to XRP Seoul team on their first event, and we at Ripple are absolutely looking forward to the next. Nothing beats the in-person meetups. Looking forward to Ripple's Swell Conference November 4th and 5th. Going to be a big one. And Brad is right. You see this community around the world, and especially in Korea. They love XRP over there. Now, this is what I'm talking about in regards to some of the biggest traders and people that you know signing off, capitulating, selling off portions of their portfolio. Peter Brandt put out this tweet, signing off of X, best to you all. I will return, but do not know when. Stay safe, take small losses, let winners ride. Love your spouse, kids, friends, and Christ. Trade to live, don't live to trade. And I think that that's pretty fair advice. For some people, they can't make it, right? This is heavy. This is heavy stuff. We're talking about money here. And this, you know, especially in the stocks, like if I was in traditional finance too, I would be probably taking my money and running as well, right? As stocks are hitting the highest valuations ever, new all-time highs are being printed, but the cracks widening is an understatement, you know, in the economy, in that labor market with inflation still running hot. The problem is you have to get that flight to safety. You got to go somewhere. And so having some liquidity is great. And when I see Blockchain Backer putting out this post here yesterday saying that he is actively selling a third of his entire crypto holdings until the market proves that it can escape, that tells me that he has a portfolio that's diversified amongst some projects that don't have real motion, don't have real momentum. They don't have ETFs going live. They don't have digital asset treasury companies stacking it on their balance sheet, and they're not getting institutional adoption. Those are projects that I'm looking to offload as well too. Now, I'm not selling right now or today, but I've lowered my targets on some of those projects in my portfolio. And I never did diversify my portfolio into 50 different crap coins, right? I am not spread out that thin. But if somebody is, and in this case, I'm suspecting and just speculating, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that BC Backer, he has a diversified bag of a lot of other plays that just aren't catching motion and momentum right now. And so I cut ties with some of those throughout this year and throughout last year. And, you know, like I said, 90% of my crypto portfolio is spot XRP. So if I was going to look to sell some XRP, maybe I would be selling off a chunk of my portfolio right now. But and I want to be careful how I worded that. I only have XRP to sell off in any substantial amount is what I was trying to say. I'm not looking to sell any of my XRP right now. I'm just saying I don't have a bunch of crap that I need to offload right now. I have a bunch of smaller positions. I think the total maybe is like 15 or 20, but positions with size, XRP is 90% of my portfolio. And then I have about the remaining 10% of that is broken up between many positions that don't even make up 1% of my portfolio. So I'm heavy XRP. But to me, what I just gathered from this and what Blockchain Backer just put out is he had a lot of other projects, considerable positions. And at this point, yeah, I see taking some chips off the table and getting some liquidity. I've been urging caution, staying liquid, keeping some margin around. And at this point, I've sized down my leverage trade, right? I took profit on my XRP long last Friday before we had the largest liquidation event of 2025. And now I'm back in an XRP long, but it's much smaller, right? So I've downsized my XRP long position because, look at the charts right now. The market makers are just sniping us one after another, right? So anyways, to each their own. That's what I gathered from BC Backer, from Peter Brandt, from the negative sentiment that I see out there on X in the comments. This is typically right when we get massive reversals out to the upside. And we've seen this volatility at this stage, this late in a bull run, every single time. And it's right before you go break out to new all-time highs for the alts. Now, once again, I believe that 90% of the space is a joke and doesn't have real value. So if you're invested in those crap coins, yeah, I'd probably be looking to cut ties or at least lower my targets at this point. This bull run is so diluted by 50 million different meme coins and different things. And now you can bet on all sorts of different stuff, poly market, all these different things to be a degenerate gambler. And it's keeping people out of the solid utility projects, they're not keeping their eyes on the prize. And they've diversified into 50 different crap coins, hoping and praying that they go up. That's not a real strategy. And especially at this stage in the bull run, it is time to consolidate into good utility, into assets that are getting ETFs, are getting digital asset treasuries, digital asset treasury companies, and getting institutional adoption. Speaking of ETFs, another ETF just got approved. That would be the #X NASDAQ Crypto Index. And the fund is now cleared to hold crypto assets beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum, including XRP, Solana, Cardano, Link, and XLM. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the projects that you want to get into. And I noticed that even BC Backer in his post, he put out a list of projects that he's looking at: XRP, SWI, ETH, Link, ADA, and Sol, which are all projects that are slated to get ETFs for Solana, Cardano, Chainlink being included in this one too. I think that we're still away from an XLM spot, a Cardano spot, but the Solana and the XRP spot ETFs are set to go live next month. Now, this brings me to my data point that I'm going to share with you guys and why I'm not moving any of my XRP right now. I'm just still holding all of it and still remaining with my higher targets for XRP. And I'm talking about $20 to $30 XRP base case. Worst case scenario, base case for 2026 is a $20 to $30 XRP, and that's just backed off data. This is the data that I'm talking about. The CME just says that they've hit our 4-month milestone for XRP futures. The reason for the momentum: demand for trusted, regulated crypto products. XRP and micro XRP futures 4-month recap: 397,000 contracts traded, 18 billion of notional volume, and it's the equivalent of 6 billion XRP being traded. That is equivalent to 6% of the XRP total supply being traded. What this tells me is that when the spot markets go live, we are easily looking at 5 to 10 billion of inflows and trading in the ETFs. Now, you'll have inflows, you will have outflows. Depending on how aggressive the inflows come in, that's going to determine our market cap multiplier and how quickly we could see my targets of 20 to 30 bucks. But I have already gone through the math. I'm not going to break it down in this episode, but the math is very simple. And what it's told me is that if we do get 5 to 10 billion of inflows, your base case is a $20 to $30 XRP. And in the 4-month milestone check from the CME group, we're already trading 6 billion XRP equivalent, which is equivalent right now to 18 billion of notional volume. That tells me that when the ETFs go live, you're going to see 6 billion XRP equivalent, 18 billion notional volume. You're going to see 10 billion plus of inflows into the XRP ETFs year one. These ETFs have already started to go live. The Rex Osprey, now this NASDAQ hash index, what is it called? Hashdex NASDAQ crypto index. That includes a 6.93% allocation to XRP. The spot ETFs, we have, I think, 7 that are slated to go live in October. And we're just, the data's right there, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Don't get liquidated short-term trading if you don't know what you're doing. Just buy your XRP, hold it, and watch the inflows come in. Watch Wall Street sell it. Watch BlackRock and all these other institutions show up at Ripple Swell Conference and lift the veil on all of the partnerships that they've established over the past decade that Ripple's been in business, and let the money flow into us. Let the money come on in. It's going to come. The data's right there. I'm not making this up. I'm not clickbaiting. I'm not here to just blow smoke up. I want to give you data. And the data that we're seeing from the CME is 6 billion XRP equivalent 4-month recap and 18 billion of notional volume. You're going to see 10 billion plus of inflows into the XRP ETFs. It's going to happen. The higher targets remain. Short-term price action, it's noise. If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't have experience, you're going to get liquidated. You're going to get clipped up. They haven't been able to liquidate me. We're still making money, but it's a risky game. I don't recommend it for most people. And in the meantime, always remember, 90% of my portfolio is just spot XRP that allows me to sleep like a baby at night, knowing that Wall Street's going to sell it, and we have $10 billion of inflows into the XRP ETFs guaranteed year one. It's just that simple. I'm going to sign off for now. I'll be back later today. God bless you all. Thank you so much for your support. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.